So conference championship week. It's a big one. You were talking about how you had the custom spikes for the LSU when you were back at conferences. Could you take us back into your college, mindset when you were there? Just the importance of a conference championship for those that may not have ran at this type of level yet, or maybe they're about to, maybe they're in high school or college or getting their season started. Like, what are the importance as a team for this kind of meet? Because this is the last time as an entire team you're going to be there. Like, some people will be at nationals, you might have a handful of people, but like, this is the last meet. You have everybody there at conferences. Like, what's the emotions like when you're here?
I think this is a very tense time for any college program, right? Like, the whole year you're constantly having your meetings, and it's always like win conference, right? Like, whether it be like the MAC conference or the Big 12 or the SEC, like always like win conference. And you get to the conference meeting, you see all the little banners set up, the teams set up, it's kind of like the energy is just more tense. I think it's like the most special time to put down a real performance. Like, that's kind of when you get stamped in college. Definitely amongst your teammates, amongst like your peers, amongst like the conference as a whole. I don't know how it was for you, Colin, but like when we get to a conference, let it be like a MAC championship or an SEC championship, when you get to there and you see like the previous champion or like the previous, conference leader, it's like, oh shit, like they're here, like that conference meet is almost like the very first time you're going to get that sense of like, oh, like we got prelims, we got finals, like we got medals going out, like this is like for real, right? So that's kind of the first time that a collegiate would experience that stuff in college. And it's like, to me, like that's been my favorite meet since I entered college. It's always been the conference championship meet. I love nationals and like, it's great and everything, but that conference championship meet is like, it just feels different. So it was dope to see such special performances from the weekend, from the conference weekends, but particularly, the one I was keeping my eye on was the SEC meet, but it was just so good to see so many fire performances. I know those kids, I'm calling them kids, but they my age, really. It was so good to see everybody so fired up and like dropping such good times, and the energy around conference is what it was supposed to be, like the huge confetti celebrations and all of those things.
Oh yeah. No, it's massive. Like, it's massive. Like, it doesn't matter like the level that you're at either. Yeah, whether it's the SEC conference championship, you got a smaller, Division 3 JUCO, doesn't matter. Like, whatever level you're competing at, like that conference energy is huge, especially if it's like a close race or, you got a lot of people going through, like everybody like leaning up against the fence, like cheering everybody on. And it's awesome. Like, cause it's for many people, like most people on the team, like you go from, depending on like for my school, our track program's massive. Like, you won't believe, like there's 80 people that were on our men and women's team. It was insane. There are so many people. There's 40 guys on that team. There's a lot. And so going from that to like, all right, next meet was our IC4A. It was like a regional meet, and you would go from 40 people to like 10 mate on the side. And then if you qualified for NCAAs, like for us, there might have been 3 people that made it to regionals, 3 or 4, and like that would be a lot. And so it's like, then you go from 40 like to really dial it down. That energy is not the same. And so it's just like, when you having everybody there, it's like, now let's go. Like, let me lock in. Let me get this medal. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I feel that, bro. We had the same kind of thing when I was at the University of Akron. It's a MAC school. So, like 60 people on the team. After conference, I think it was like 7 going to regionals. I'm like, damn, the per diem was nice. But I'm like, yo, like, it's just us here. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great feeling, for conferences. And so let's get into some of these performances for conferences. So I know you had a few that you really liked, some standout performances. Then I had a few as well that I wanted to go over. So why don't we'll go 1 and 1. So you start off with what one of your favorite performances is, and then we'll go over them as well.
For sure. So y'all know me as a 400-meter runner. And I was very impressed with Christopher Williams Morales, I believe my boy's name is, but he did his thing, man, in a super smooth but super like strong way to finish 400 meter, like a very convincing way to finish a 400 meter in 44. Oh, I think that was the meet championship record as
Yeah.
well from Georgia. So, he's backing up what he did in the indoor season. Canadian bull. So I'm excited to see if he's gonna continue this moving into the summer. But no, congrats to him. That was probably my favorite performance of the weekend.
Yeah, that's man, I feel like your legs got to feel heavy right now, right? I mean, you're running a world record in indoors. You're running the world lead right now at conferences, but I feel like there's no sign of slowing down right now. Like, but is he just hiding it really well, or is it just like, nah, like dude's just different? Like he's just running different.
Well, let's think about it. He hasn't been running consistent 4x1s, I don't think. He hasn't been running consistent like 200s. He hasn't been running like he hasn't ran too much. Like he hasn't had too many miles on him. I think Coach Carroll over there is doing like a real, like when you get somebody doing stuff like that as a coach, you have to be smart with how much you're, lighting that match, how much you're burning that match, because you run out of matches, you're screwed. But I think they've done a really good job of managing his races. Like he hasn't ran too much, so it looks it looks like it's still tread on those tires, bro. So
It's big. Yeah, if he making it to that, because right now he's a world lead. Like he could get into that final for the Olympics later on. I mean, he's going to be on that team with Canada, so you're going to see him there. But now that was a good race for him. I feel like there's different types of 400-meter runners, or I feel like is there any difference when you're racing someone that might be more of a 100, 200 meter, 400 meter sprinter versus someone that's like an 800-mile sprinter? Like, do you have a game plan that's different, or does it feel different at all? Like when you're competing against those guys?
I think it does. I think it absolutely does. When you're running against a speed, quote unquote, a short sprinter converted 400-meter runner, I think that internal dialogue is going to be a little bit different during the race. Like, oh, I feel him breaking stagger on me, but that should happen, as long as I'm. And then on the other side of things, like say you're running somebody with more of like a 800-meter base or like an endurance base, and you're at 130 meters, like, oh, wait a minute, they breaking stagger on me. Like this shouldn't happen. Let me kind of dial it up. I think so. Your field, who you're running against, the type of runners, it is it's gonna play on like the scenarios of the race. It shouldn't like completely determine your race plan for the day, but it is definitely gonna have a little bit of influence while you're in that race, while you're in the mud with those guys, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know there's different, a whole bunch of different types. So hey, you changing your game plan, but not you keeping it kind of similar, but keeping it kind of similar. Cool. So I'll go over one of my big performances that I liked a lot here. I'm going to take it on over to the women's side. This person, early candidate right now for my comeback athlete of the year, going with Grace Stark out of Florida, 100-meter hurdler, ran a 12.53 new personal best, NCAA lead, top 10 in the world, as well as first SEC championship title. It sounds crazy to say that because like she's just been competing at such a high level for such a long time, but first SEC championship title for her, which is a huge accomplishment. And so for those that don't remember, she had a pretty nasty knee injury from the indoor conference championship, indoor national championship. She had a fall over one of the hurdles. I think it was last year. It might have been 2 years ago. I can't remember. But to see her coming back in excellent form is just like fantastic. Like she was one of my early people for potential Bowerman, but she's back. She's running at a high level, and it's great to see, especially after a nasty knee injury like that. Like being able to run NCAA leading times, like that's impressive.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Grace. She's been a really powerful hurdler, and she's done every time she's been healthy. It's been successful conference meets for her. But like you said, I'm not quite sure if it was last year or 2 years ago when she sustained that injury. But hey, shouts out to her for getting back on top of the podium, man.
Yeah, her versus Aaliyah. I always like watching them run. Like they got they powerful. So that should be fire this year. So what about you? What's your next performance of the week?
My next performance of the week is going to be the 4x1 from the LSU men. I was just double checking to see the time officially, but I believe it was like a 38-1 or 38. It was
Yeah,
38 low.
38.19. Yeah,
Yeah,
38.19.
38.19. And that's like stupid. That's stupid fast, bro. Like that's crazy fast. So shout out to the LSU boys, man. Got it done. Got another relay title under their belt at conference, man. I was super happy to see this from the guys, man. They were sliding and having fun doing it. So that was actually my number one. That was my number one. But I had to say the number two. But yeah. So the
Yeah.
LSU men's 4x1.
Yeah, you see LSU on Twitter when they posted like the it was how to run fast, and it said step one. It had a picture of Coach Schaefer
Oh
right there.
yeah. I saw that. That was stupid.
I was like, yeah, step one. That's all you got to do. Just like run for this man. Like, could you bring that in? Like, there's been such a history with. I hear all these people talking about like, he's one of the big names of sprinting. Like, what's the coaching style? What's it like working underneath him? Like, why is it that LSU just year after year after year continues to have these top sprinters here?
Okay, so this is what I think. This is what I think. So, Coach Shaver, he obviously demands greatness, like first and foremost. Like he demands greatness, right? Like that's the standard. Every day is greatness. Every day you come in, you're gonna bust your ass every day. Like for like the working standpoint of it. But I think the thing that separates him from a lot of other coaches in the sport, especially, and I have to give him credit because of his generation, like he's old, like he's not a young man, is how like he creates an environment that everybody's really comfortable being themselves. And like there's no real way to understate that, right? Because if you're yourself every day, obviously we're gonna work hard. Like you put like 20, beasts in the same room, like everybody gonna go beast mode. That's gonna happen. But like the fact that we can all be ourselves, the fact that we can all have fun and like literally just be ourselves and not have to compromise character, and we can just go out there and run. I think that's kind of what separates him. I've had coaches, oh, this is the dress code today, this we gonna walk in like this today, and like yeah, there's structure with Coach Shaver, but like we have so many personalities on our teams, and he never tried to like uh compromise those or like change those. He just let us be ourselves and let us have fun and even encouraged us. You know what I'm saying? But like everybody got their own little side jokes with Coach Shaver. You know what I'm saying? He kind of embraces you as a person. So I think that's the main thing that's gonna, because everybody's script is damn near the same with workouts. Like everybody doing the same workouts. It's not a workout. It's more about him as a person. Like be you and go do great. That's kind of why I think he's such a great coach.
Yeah, it's just like the secret recipe that ain't that much of a secret. Like let people be who they are. Like you gonna do that work. So like, hey, you can be you, but you gotta finish these dang 350s.
Yeah,
Like
like
you
yeah,
gonna do this. Like you can do that. You can wear the chains. You can be loud. You can be excited. But you better split this 350 at the right time, or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel
So,
you.
but shout out to him, man. Like, and also shout out to him for getting another women's team title at the meet too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
That's
huge.
big.
Yeah.
I guess we'll talk about it before NCAAs, but they got that chance. They can do it for an NCAA title. I mean, taking down Arkansas, like that's big. That's big, especially at SECs. I feel like Arkansas just got depth on depth there, so that was a big win.
Yeah.
I'll go on over to another conference performance that I saw. We're going down to the Division III level for this performance. Sam Blaskowski out of UW Lacoste ran a new NCAA Division III 100 meter national record with a time of 10.09. Dude was sliding. Under the comments of this post, everyone's talking like, "Yo, get this man in D1. What's he doing? He's just a junior too. Super fast, super quick. Like he's." Last year was very impressive. He's ran a windy 9.9 already. It was pretty hefty win, but still, he's been running fast. He's been this for a little while, and so we're seeing it more and more often. I think it was Benjamin Asmati not too long ago. He was putting up numbers at the Division II level. You had Trevor Bassett putting up numbers at the Division II level not too long ago. Cordell Tinch putting up numbers on Division II level last year. Like, we're seeing more and more people. Like, I know we've got a lot of individuals like, oh, fastest people are always in Division I, Power 5. If you're not a Power 5 Division I runner, like, you ain't fast. Like, that is just not the case at all. Like, you got dogs at every level, at every school, there at every conference. You have an opportunity, and just like, shout out Sam, man. Like, that was just, he continues to put the world on notice, and like that's impressive. 10:09, that's great.
Yeah, shout out to bro. I got a lot of love for anybody getting it out the mud like that, man. It's tough. I think people don't understand how tough his daily obstacles probably are, man. So shout out to that boy.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about earlier, you're like, I'm thinking, I keep thinking about like the resources and the stuff, the access that, people at, like, if you were an athlete that was at LSU, like, your whole career. I mean, Akron, y'all had some pretty good resources too. Like, y'all indoor track is nice. I fucks with it. That was like one of my favorite meets was when we went to Akron. Like, some people, you go to these D3 schools, you go to like some of these D1 school, like low D1 schools, like the school that I was at, like, the people would have aneurysms at, like, wait, you're telling me we got to do this? Like, this is like we gotta train in what weather? Like, wait, you're telling me we don't have an indoor? Wait, what are you talking about? Like, people don't realize, like you're saying, some of those daily obstacles that you got. Like, Bull probably had homework he had to submit the very next day. Like, he had a virtual class that morning type stuff. Like, it's tough. Like, it's not the same resource. So exciting to see him. 10:09. That's moving, man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the bro.
For sure.
Big Sam.
What you got? What's the other performance that you may have?
Godson Oghenbrume. 100 meters, man. 999, man, for the LSU Tigers, taking it home. I think like the SEC is kind of known as a sprint conference, so to be the champ in 100 at the SEC meet is like huge to me, in my opinion. I'm looking for bro to win the national championship as well. Big Godson.
Yeah, yo, he like be staring people down too. Like, he's like, right after, like, he always looks like he's mad, bro. I swear, like, he'll win and you'll think it was like the worst thing that ever happened to him. He's just always so serious. Like, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, like I said, Coach Saban gonna let you be who you want to be, man. Like, if you want to be mean and angry, dog, hey, get that gold. Go be mean and angry, bro. But in all seriousness, like, shout out to him, bro. That was a great race. So,
yeah. Were you guys at LSU at the same time? Did you have any overlap, or did he show up the year after you?
He showed up, like, I left in the winter, like, before the semester, and he showed up in the winter, like, before the semester. So we was training together for maybe like a week.
Okay, yeah.
A week or 2 weeks. I'm like, what's up, bro? He's like, so
all right, cool.
Like, one of those things. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was on that championship team that y'all had or not. So okay, he was in there. But I mean, there's some dogs, especially in that. Not only was the time impressive, but I mean, some of the people he's beaten. Like, what was it? Because I think it's who's the guy from Tennessee that has the lead right now? Like, or he had
Favorite Ash.
He had Favor Ash from Auburn. Also the other guy from Tennessee, was it Tamaris McCallum beating him? I mean, you got 8th place was 10:16. Like, that's nuts. Like, you're in dead last if you're running the 18th fastest time in the NCAA. Like, if you run a top 10 time, the 10:08 is a top 10 time in the entire NCAA championship and NCAA. You are coming in 6th place. You are still not even getting on the like, that is nuts. Just how much speed they got over there. So no, yeah, you 100% right.
Yeah.
And close us out with some conference, my favorite conference picks that we have here. Going on over to the women's 200 meter, Mackenzie Long out of Ole Miss with the 22:03 new NCAA lead, season's best, as well as a world lead in the 200 meters as well. I saw on Twitter, she was putting after, he's like, yeah, I'm putting y'all on notice. Like, y'all better stop sleeping now on me. I mean, we don't see a lot from Ole Miss. Like Ole Miss, like sprinters, I feel like they're that's not known. They're more known for distance running, I feel. And so seeing her coming out is like that's a big win, for her. And you putting the, like you said, you putting the world on notice. Like you stepping in that for sure.
Yeah, shout out Kenzie, man. She been putting together some good performances over the last 2 years, man. She's a special talent. She kind of got that Abby Steiner run style a little bit, but she's also very talented in her own respect. So, yeah, shout out to Kenzie.
Could you touch on that a little bit? Like, what do you mean? Like, for those who may not know, Abby Steiner run style. I know a little bit what you're talking about. What's that? What is it? Could you break that down and what that run?
Well, I was more so referring to like their arm technique and kind of the way that they swing. They have like a bouncy, swingy kind of technique with their arms where you might see them get a little bit loose with it. Everybody think it's like picture perfect, up and down, straight up and down. But for those two ladies, they've seemed to be comfortable and make it work with a little bit of like how would you describe that swing? Like a horizontal, just like a loose swing?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like it's like it looks like you're carrying a football a little bit. Like you're keeping that pigskin tight, like
low key. So I don't know, but she does give me, vibes of an Abby Steiner. But she also seems to be a dog, in big time moments. So I'm happy for the girl, man.
So I got a hot take for y'all. This is my hot take. Something we got to change. Everyone's talking about how are we going to change NCAA track and field, or how are we going to change track and field? What's going to look different? So this is my change, what we got to do, because we're seeing from the SEC just all these crazy times. You see it from all across the nation, what we're doing. This is the big change. We got to have, if you win your conference title, an NCAA conference title, just like in college basketball, you get an automatic bye into the NCAA championship. Doesn't matter. You win your conference title, you get an automatic bye into the NCAA championship. Reason why we should do this, I think it's going to make all these schools across the nation, it's going to elevate the times as well. Because, hey, I know you're SEC and everything like that, I'm sure. But if you know that you're guaranteed to make it into the NCAA championship just by winning your conference championship, you might be like, hey, maybe the MAC ain't that bad, man. Like, I'm number one. It's cool. I ain't got to worry about it. I got an automatic bye. So maybe we stay. Maybe, people in the NEC, we staying around here. We got to change it. You get an automatic bye. You win your conference title. You ain't got to worry about it. Straight to Eugene. I'll see you there. That's my take.
Okay. All right. This is how I feel. I feel like that's cool. I feel like it's cute.
Cute. It's cute now. All right.
Cute. You kind of lost me when you said straight to Oregon, because it is 2 rounds of the NCAA championship. If we go to the first round, I might not have an issue. But to see, like, no shade to this conference, the MEAC, right? No shade to this conference at all. I don't want to go. I just went through a gauntlet of guys in the SEC, and I ran 20.41. Let's say. I don't want to lose my spot because some conference champion ran 21.6 and bumped me out. You feel me? So it's cute, and I think that those winners, there's a way to reward them. But the automatic bye, I'm not sure I could get behind just yet.
All right.
Not so yet.
So then what about this then? What about this? So what if it was you get automatic bye into just the NCAA, the prelim. So you're automatically in the prelim, you win your conference championship. Would that in your mind be a little bit better? Or would you
It's
be
tough.
cool with it?
It's tough. It's tough because I can't compromise a guy that's just faster. I can't, like I can't. I feel, bro, like congrats on winning your conference championship. Like you should be proud of that. But like now we're on a different level that you haven't quite been able to reach yet, and that's okay. But I gotta give this 20.4 guy the nod, bro. Like he got 28th at conference, but sorry.
What if you allowed more people into it? So what if it was like, hey, since we're having more people go, we don't want to take away spots from people that are like so talented. Maybe we add more positions. So like, hey, instead of it being top 48 in the nation, maybe now it's top 54. I don't know, something like that. That'll be end up going. And plus, think about it. Also, you're going to have a lot of conference champions are already going to have that qualifying time. It's like if you're a conference champion, there will be I wouldn't say a majority of the schools, but you'll have a healthy amount that are going to end up getting it. Like there'll be some that it's going to be real tough. Like, I mean, I know for like at the MAC for our pole vault champion, he did not have the standard, but it was pretty dang close. Like he was it was one height away from what the standard would have been. So it wouldn't have been too insane. I think let him in. Now I'm saying, let him in. We letting 50 people in there. I don't give a damn. You win your conference championship. You go into NCAAs. Cinderella story is happening. I'm booking it. I'm sorry, no, I'm booking it.
All right, it's Collins World, man. We booking it.
There you go. All right. So yeah, conference championships, great week. For those that didn't see it, there's some other just crazy stuff. We'll do quick hitters here. Big 12 championship is the last year with Texas in there, but they got people running. There were people starting their race at midnight, man. Like what would your I was talking to one of the guys that was running there, and he was like, yeah, I've been at this track since 4 p.m. and I'm not running until midnight. Like I would be so pissed if that was me, man. Like,
yeah, just frustrated, bro. Hot, sweaty, tired, annoyed, frustrated.
just let me go home. I ain't doing this. Just let me
That's
go
horrible.
home.
That's a horrible job by the conference.
Yeah. They unfortunately, for those that don't know, the reason they couldn't postpone it another day, because it was raining in Waco, was BYU isn't allowed to compete on Sundays, apparently. So they're with their, the religious religion, they're not allowed to perform on Sunday. And so unfortunately they couldn't postpone it another day. Like a lot of schools probably would have. So they're like, nah, we got to get this race in. we got to start. You got to start y'all off at midnight, man. Like that's brutal. That's brutal. So glad it's not me. I would have been heated. Name hitting the portal right away. All right, and then Big Sky. They were also got people running in snowstorms. It was a wild weekend for track and